Hey everyone. Thank you for coming here to check out my article. I do appreciate it, and I do hope that you come away from here feeling as if you have gained something. My intention for this article are two things. Help you see how you can apply shape theory to your levels moving forward. Encourage you after you have read this article to check out my video, for you to gain even more shape theory knowledge. Now you know my diabolical intentions for you and your mind. Let us waste no time and dive headfirst into the topic. Shape theory has been around this for a long time. It is used in everyday life all around us, so much so that you might not have even realized consciously. This theory is not something solely restricted to game development. It is used in so many ways. I am writing this article a week after Valentine's Day. Still, no cause, but I am going off topic. We can see how marketing uses it to help sell you and your partner on such an event as Valentine's Day. You may be wondering what is the logo image for this yearly event? It is, of course, the heart. Not exactly what you are thinking about on this day. But this picture above is that of what a real heart looks like. Think about how marketing has changed this image to what a Valentine's heart looks like. Why would they do this? Simple. It is because of the fact this shape is far more inviting to us as people. The real truth does not scream romance. But by doing this it makes us get happy and more excited. So let us break this down. Overall, this shape is very round and circular, meaning it comes across cutely, which means this shape is inviting to us. When the shape is more round, we as humans perceive it as less of a threat and see it as more inviting. If you were to rotate this image by 90 degrees, the point at the bottom would make this image look like an arrowhead, which then makes us think of Cupid, and how we as people want to be hit by the arrow to find love. Valentine's heart is only one shape compared to a real heart, which communicates how we want unison with our partner. When two become one. This is more color theory, it being a bright shade of red. Remind us of roses, and currently red is the most liked color today. The real heart does not provide that symbolism, so I hope this short breakdown gives you a glimpse into how changing a shape can have a big impact on how we as humans perceive an object. One last example would be the fantastic character design of Maleficent. Notice how she and her crow are made up of both pointy and sharp shapes, making her scary, uninviting, and not a trustworthy character. We can all feel this as soon as we the viewers see her for the first time. It is quite the opposite effect compared to that of the heart. All of this is conveyed to us the viewer on how we feel within an instant just by us reading seeing these shapes. You have now just had a quick crash course in some basic shape theory. There is much more to know to understand how it works. Watch the video down below. But you can understand how it works. While this is very exciting, it is not exactly a level design. So let us break down how shape theory is used within level design. Shapes can encourage us to explore move within our level's open worlds in many different ways. Take for example Zelda, Breath of the Wild. This may have less active compared to most in terms of side missions are bustling NPCs to converse with. However, everyone talks about how much time they have spent exploring Hyrule. You may be wondering how did they encourage players to spend all this time within the world if their own did not have 100 deaths of collectibles. Side missions are world activates. Nintendo devs actually reviewed this in one of their presentations. It was by using triangles. I know you may be thinking triangles, but this is such an interesting idea. The two arrows are showing how players reacted when faced with this option. Players would either head to the top of the triangle to get a better view of their surroundings. I could travel around it. What is even better with this is it the perfect way to tease information to the player, as you can hide a landmark, a cool area, behind a triangle, but still show enough to pique the interest of the player. Even if we just take the picture from above, we can see tons of triangles. In contrast to this, we can take a game such as The Division, which is set in New York. The shape theory of this is far more square rectangular because of two reasons. With the fact that New York is a grid-based city combined with tall buildings, it gives a corridor-like feeling to certain streets within the division. Rectangles communicate with our human brains differently. They like corridors pull us through space, making us want to progress through. But also if surrounded by enemies, which is often the case in the game, you can feel trapped with a sense of being weak and outnumbered, which fits perfectly with the narrative of the game. We as players will also move differently. As you can see, the diagram is different, as players will most likely go around the square shape, and the zigzag is that of the fire exits used on sides of buildings in New York, showing that getting to the top is not as a straightforward journey compared to that of the triangle. Let me show you how many squares can be seen in the above picture. As we did with Zelda, you can now see that these simple shapes can really have a big impact on us as players, as well as how we perceive and move throughout worlds within video games. This here, though, is just a taste of shape theory in level design. There is way more than just this. I wanted to give you a taste of this, to show you how important this topic is. But as I stated in my mission for this article, now that you got a taste, why not watch my presentation within level design to see what other amazing ways you can use it in order to improve your levels. Contact me. Twitter, email protected. Wondersong casts players as a silly, love robot who aims to make the world a better place through song. Singing is the only way to interact with the people and puzzles of Wondersong, tasking players with using their voice to improve the lives of those they meet. Gamasutra had a chat with Greg Lopanoff, developer of the Excellence in Narrative nominated Wondersong, to talk about how a United States-wide bike trip inspired the game's touching story, how clever characters could guide a narrative, and the power of finding a grain of positivity when all seems lost. I am Greg Lopanoff, and I created directed Wondersong with the help of M. Halberstadt, who did audio, and Gordon McLaddery, who did music. I used to make card games and board games with markers and paper when I was a little kid. When I was a medium kid, I discovered Game Maker and started making dinky little games. Now, I am a big kid, but I am still using Game Maker to make dinky games. I had the idea for the main character when I was sitting in the car while careening down a highway. The larger story was loosely inspired by my experience living on my bicycle and riding across the United States of America in 2014 and 2015. What made it all click was when I came up with the music wheel interface, though. I wanted to try turning the controller into an expressive musical instrument. It really was an honest expression of how I was feeling after my bike trip. I was seeing stories like Steven Universe that explored similar themes, but really started to notice the lack of those kinds of stories in games. So, when I set out to make a game with a story myself, it felt irresponsible to do anything that contributed more to the regular pile of violence and negativity. Game Maker Studio, art was in Photoshop, audio was in Reaper, and music was Ableton. I made a fairly robust level editor, and Audio Logic editor version, inside the game as well. The music mechanic really opened a lot more doors than it closed. It was incredibly fun to come up with new situations and interactions that you did have with singing. We built the game up piece by piece, completely designed around the main mechanic, and tried to keep it surprising and make people laugh. Sometimes it was hard to design the story so that the player felt like they had a relevant role when all they could do was sing. But that friction naturally became a real interesting ingredient in the story itself. I really love making characters. I had a lot of fun giving everyone a unique feeling, voice and personality, and I tried to stay sensitive to what they wanted to do and how they would react to things the player could do. I call it following through. Sometimes, as I was writing a random API, I did realize they would want to have a pivotal role in the story, and the entire plot would change direction. Everything in the game is very sensitive and honest to what the characters want, so I think that really helps them feel real, and like they have a footprint in the story. Most games are built out of repeated tiles,